State Police K-9 searching the woods above the parking lot next to Derby's St. Michael's Church for evidence in connection to the hunt for missing Ansonia 1-year-old Vannessa Morales.
We are concerned very much of how this happened and who could have done something very, very crazy to a 1-year-old.
Welcome back. My name is Roxy and this is the beginning of Crimetober, guys. This is exciting. I am so excited to do Crimetober. The reason why I'm doing Crimetober is because Halloween is coming and I really want to join in the fun because I know this is kind of a thing for true crime YouTubers. So I'm going to do that with the other true crime YouTubers. And my aim with the Crimetober is to post at least twice or 3 times a week. But we will see how that goes. Now today's case is a very sad case, and it is the murder of Christine Halloway and the disappearance of Vannessa Morales. Now, I don't have that much information on who Christine was as a person because this is a relatively new case. It only happened back in December last year and it hasn't been a year since this case happened. So before I start this case, I want to say that this particular event happened in Ansonia. I'm not really sure if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but this case happened in Ansonia. And it was really tragic how things went down. But before we get into the case, I want to give you a brief description on who Christine was as a person. Christine was described as a very loving and caring person. She was the oldest of 5 siblings, and because she helped raise her siblings, she developed a very nurturing and loving and caring personality. And I think this is what eventually led Christine to study psychology. She was the first person in her family to graduate college and she got a degree in psychology. She then went off to work at Bright Morning Star Daycare, where she loved working with babies and she loved working with kids. She really loved kids, babies especially, because of her loving and nurturing personality. Christine had her daughter Vannessa Morales, which is currently missing. She had her daughter, and Christine and her daughter had a very strong bond. Now, Vannessa was only 1 year old when she went missing from her mother's apartment. But let's get into it. Now, the family said that they last saw Christine and Vannessa, baby Vannessa, on the 29th of November 2019, the weekend of Thanksgiving, if I'm not incorrect, the weekend of Thanksgiving. And after that day, they haven't heard anything from Christine or Vannessa ever since. So on Monday, the 2nd of December 2019, when Christine didn't show up for work and she didn't call in sick, her employer probably got suspicious and was wondering where Christine was, because it was kind of unlike her to not show up for work and not call in sick. So they immediately contacted the police and asked the police to do a welfare check. So the police went out and they did a welfare check. Now, I'm not sure at this particular time whether the family also got a little bit suspicious. They also called the police, but I'm really not sure. So the police went to her apartment in Myrtle Avenue, but they couldn't see any sign of Vannessa or Christine, and they thought they probably left the apartment. So that was around 1 p.m. So the police left, and yeah, they probably just thought that Christine was out running some errands or doing something. But then again, the family got a little bit worried and they called the police again. And I think by then the police suspected that something was wrong. So they went to do another welfare check at 7 p.m. that evening. Now at this time the police used force because I think something looked a little bit sketchy, and I think that's why they decided to use force to go inside. They found her body, but while they were searching through the apartment, they couldn't find Vannessa Morales anywhere. The baby was missing. She was only 1 years old when she went missing from her mother's apartment. They couldn't find her anywhere. While doing their investigation, the police noticed that few items were missing from the apartment. Now I know this is probably information given by the family as well. That's why they noticed that few items were missing from the apartment, and this was items that was used by Christine to take care of Vannessa on a daily basis, and these items are also extremely important in the case because the police put out these items to the public, and they notified the public on these items and told the public if they see any of these items anywhere that they should contact the police, and that these items have a very important part to play in finding Vannessa. The police noticed that a Graco car seat was missing from apartment, a diaper bag, a Eddie Bird diaper bag, as well as a teething ring and a multicolored comforter was missing from the apartment. Now these items were used to take care of Vannessa on a daily basis. So these items are very important in finding Vannessa because they still believe that Vannessa is alive and well.
And there are still 4 specific items police are looking for. Little Vanessa's Graco car seat, this teething ring, this Eddie Bauer backpack, and a multicolored comforter exactly like this one.
We've had a lot of tips about car seats and different things like that. We've run all those out and they've never come out to what we had hoped for.
Now this is where things get a little bit weird because the police believe that the person that took Vannessa was someone near to the family or someone that knew Christine personally, because it's kind of strange that for example, a burglar comes in and kills Christine, and then he takes Vannessa and collects all the items that Christine would normally use to look after Vannessa, because it's kind of strange that a stranger would know these things. So they thought that the person that probably took Vannessa is someone close to the family or that knows Vannessa really well and knows Christine really well. So the following day, a search warrant was issued for Jose Morales. Now, I haven't mentioned Jose Morales. Jose Morales is the father of Christine Morales and is the boyfriend of Christine Halloway. Now, he was the last person to have been seen with Christine as well as with Vannessa. So a search warrant was issued, and when they searched his apartment, find anything related to Christine and Vannessa's disappearance, but what they did find was 2 stun guns. Now, because Jose was on probation, he wasn't allowed to have any firearms on him, so he was immediately arrested for this, and he's currently been charged and is on bail for he was on bail for $250,000. Now, at this stage, there wasn't any evidence pointing towards Jose Morales, but they were trying to build their case, and they were actually a little bit suspicious of him. So I think that's why they arrested him, because they wanted to find out where Vannessa was, because it was critical for them to find out where Vannessa was, because Vannessa was last seen with her mother and she was in the care of her mother, but her mother's body was found in the apartment and she wasn't found with her mother. So he was arrested, and the police first said that he was doing interviews, he was answering questions, he was very cooperative with the police, and he worked with them really well. So he was a suspect, but he wasn't really arrested or charged with anything related to the murder. But I think when the autopsy results came back on Christine, I discovered that Christine died from blunt force trauma, and she was basically beaten to death. Now, the really great thing about this case is that they found hair in Christine's hand, and this shows that Christine was fighting off her attacker while she was being beaten to death basically. And they found hair in Christine's hand, and when DNA tests were done, DNA analysis was done, they found the DNA of Christine herself as well as Jose Morales. So this means that directly before she died or she was murdered, she had the hair of her boyfriend Jose Morales in her hands. At this point, we don't know anything on who Jose was. Was he a violent person? All that we know is that he was on probation, and we still don't know who he was as a person. But when I checked into Jose Morales, I found really disturbing information on him, and this just gives me more, how can I say, this just this just makes me believe that he probably was involved with this case, and that he was probably the reason why Christine was murdered and why Vannesa disappeared from the apartment. Now let's get into whom Jose Morales was and who he was as a person. Now, charges dating back to 2012 found that Jose was a very physically abusive person. Now, he had charges relating to an ex-girlfriend that he used to date. Now, there were two different separate arrests. The first one happened at the girlfriend that he was dating, an ex-girlfriend that he was dating. Her mother called the police after she found Jose threatening her daughter on the floor, on the bedroom floor. Now, that specific night at 1:30, her daughter and Jose Morales came from, I don't know where they were. They came and they were both high on PCP. So she heard shouting noises from the room, and then heard a hard thump on the floor. And when she went to the room, she found that Jose pinned her daughter on the floor and told her daughter that I'm gonna break all your bones, or I'm gonna break every bone in your body. So the mother called 911 and he was arrested. And the weird thing was that when the police came there, they noticed that Jose was lying naked on the bed and acting like nothing was wrong because he was high on PCP. So a time after that, after he was arrested on probation, I'm not really sure how long he served for the first arrest, but the second arrest happened when a police officer was patrolling the streets and he saw a woman or a man grabbing, and this man was Jose Morales, grabbed the hand of his ex-girlfriend in a very malicious manner, and then she started screaming and tried to get loose and ran down the street, and Jose then went in front of her and grabbed her again. Now, when the police officer said that he should let her go, he said that he was only talking to his girlfriend. But then when the police discovered that this was the same girlfriend that he was arrested for previously, they arrested him again for violating his probation. So this gives you a brief example of who, or a brief description of who Jose Morales was. He was a very aggressive person, and he had abusive relationship with his previous ex. Now, I don't know whether he had a abusive relationship with Christine as well. There's not a lot of information around their relationship or what kind of relationship they had, but this gives us an example of who Vannessa Morales was and what he was capable of doing. So Jose then said that he wasn't involved with Christine's murder, and there was a source that I read that he apparently said that there were a bunch of men that came into Christine's apartment and apparently murdered her and then knocked him over, and these men also took Vannesa. But evidence point that there were no men involved. There was also footage around this apartment, I think from neighbors. I'm not really sure where this footage came from, but there was absolutely no men involved in this. It was just a story made up by Jose Morales. So as investigation continued, they also realized that the apartment of Christine was cleaned by the person that murdered her, because there were rags and towels, and it looked like someone was cleaning the apartment. Now, Christine was beaten to death, and there were parts of her skull that was missing, and this part of the skull or bone fragments were later found in her garbage disposal. I don't know how it got in there, but it was later found in her garbage disposal. On the 5th of December 2019, a Hamadan business that placed clothing collection boxes around the state said that they found items in one of their clothing collection boxes that they found extremely suspicious. These items were a diaper disposal device, an infant pillow, baby clothing, as well as toys and blocks, and a toy radio, if I'm not wrong, a toy radio. And they also found a croc that was for the left foot. It was size 2 to 3. And they also found a t-shirt and a bloody towel. The employee said that it appeared that there was skin and hair on this towel and a bloody t-shirt. So when DNA analysis was done, they said that the DNA matched the DNA of Christine Halloway. So these items probably belonged to Vannesa and Christine, but I'm not 100% sure. There was also a search done on the 6th of December 2019 on Christine's apartment, or the right pink croc was found. Now, I've mentioned that another croc was found in the clothing collection boxes that had blood on it, what was size 2 to 3. But then in Christine's apartment, there was another croc, probably a child's croc, that was size 2 to 3 that was found in Christine's apartment. So this kind of linked the clothing and the toys and the items that were found to Christine, but I'm really not sure what more information was gathered from these items. That this information I only found out like right now before I did this thing, so I'm still not sure about that information regarding the items that was found. As far as I know, Jose Morales is the only suspect that is currently held, and he was charged by the murder of Christine Halloway 2 weeks after Halloway's body was found in her apartment. So till today, Jose Morales says that he's innocent, that he didn't murder Christine, and he's not involved with the disappearance of Vannesa. And I personally feel that he is involved, but so far the police is still looking for little Vannesa, and they still have no information relating to her disappearance, or at least not information that they are ready to release to the public. And that's why I felt it was important to cover this case, because to get as much information about Vanessa's disappearance out there, so that we can bring her safely home. So far, it is said that both families, both Christine and Jose's family, is cooperating in this case. In some instances, you can see them handing flyers out, working together with the police to bring back Vannesa. They were questioned, but they believe that they were not involved with Vanessa's disappearance. So guys, if you have any information, I'm going to leave the details on screen. If you have any information that can help bring Vannesa home, please do so. Contact the Ansonia police or contact the FBI, and let's help bring Vannesa home. Let's share this video with friends and family so that we can spread awareness on Vanessa's case and bring her home as soon as possible. Now, this is all information that I currently have on the case. I'll probably do an update if we get more information on this case, but this is all information that I have on this case. If you know anything regarding this case, please comment down below. But that's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.